After a couple of weeks of work, it was time to lift Catzero back in. We've cut holes in the side, refilled, welded, all sorts of work gone on. But splashdown should be easier than lifting out. The other advantage this time, she had a working engine, so she could come along under her own power.
So this morning, got rid of the grandkids. They've gone to their other grandmas. The sun's shining, typical. Dave's decided to try and sort out one of his bugbears.
But trying to work out where the cabling goes in this rat's nest under here is a nightmare.
What I was going to show you is the look of puzzlement on his face.
What was Janet on about? Me having a puzzled look on my face? Well, I was trying to work out the fuel gauging. Been having an issue for quite some time where the upper deck fuel gauges, the port and starboard side, gave different readings to the lower deck where we've got a single gauge and a selector switch. I fitted new gauges. Thought, well, was it the old original gauges that were at fault? We fitted a power switch here just in case we were getting some power interference, because if I left that on powered up, we didn't get the correct gauging down below. In the end, I decided the only way was, after testing the wiring, we found that we had some resistance in the cabling. I was getting a completely different ohms reading at one end of the cable as opposed to what was coming out of the sender units. So put new wiring in, independently wired everything, and I've put upper and lower deck selector switches down on the main console down below. And so when we power on, we now see our fuel level on both port and starboard side. Now, I still think the port side is reading a little bit low compared to where it is when I dip the tank, but it's on the safe side. So these are the selector switches. They are a 3-position switch. So upper deck is there, off for everything is there, lower deck is there. Hi guys, well, there's something a little bit different now. I'm not working on my own boat. I'm working on this Regal Commodore 380. The owner has not really ever been able to use it because he's had fuel tank problems. Now, he did fit new tanks to the starboard side 2 or 3 years ago now, and last year he got around to getting somebody, not me, to remove the old aluminium tank out of the port side, and he ordered new tanks to go in. He ordered exactly the same tanks that he put in the starboard side. And that's one of the tanks there, just stood on its end. They're very slim, but quite long and tall. And where they go is right up on the hull side in the engine bay. Right the way they go forward, down there, and aft, along this way. Now the tanks have been supplied by Tech Tanks, and they're very nice tanks indeed. They've had to be in 3 pieces, and they've got connection pipes there to connect tank to tank. Now that is one problem, because that's a little bit too low, so we've had to step the tanks up in order to not have to cut into a main beam and stringer in the hull. And the other problem is, from there to there, they're a little bit too tall for the space we've got, and to get them in, they're far too wide. Even at that, that's 9 inches. We've got nowhere near that to slot them, because they would have to go down through that slot there. There is not room to get them in there and around the corner. The generator's in place. A big black tube is part of the exhaust, and even with that corner of the water tank cut off and removed, you cannot get it around and into that space. And in any case, the distance from the floor of the engine bay to the top here is not enough. There's just not enough height. We're fractions away, but the wrong side. So what we've decided to do with the owner is to, from there, cut down here and across, from there cut across and take this piece out here. So we'll take that entire corner out, which will allow us to drop the tank down onto the bed, tip it to one side, drop it into the well, and then lift and push forward onto the baseboards that I've been making. There is a baseboard that should be in the centre bit. We've taken that out. That will have to go in last, and so will the centre tank. That will have to go in last. So my job for the next week or so, I think, is going to be, that's my office in that space there. So I'll not film whilst I'm doing the work, because I just want to get on and get the job done for him. He's been waiting 12 months for somebody to do this, and I just said, look, I'll do it. I'll get it done for you. I just want to get the job done. I spent yesterday making all the baseboards, and I thought, wow, we've cracked on here. And then we tried last night, late on in the day, to get this tank, one of the tanks in, to test it, because all these baseboards have to come back out, because I've got to epoxy them, I've got to weatherproof them, and then I've got to fiberglass them in and get them tabbed into the hull so they can't move about. So there's quite a bit of work to do, but we just wanted to make sure that we could get a tank down, and in a way I'm glad we tried it. And it's a sign of spring when we get the ducklings. Janet's busy feeding. We've got a clutch of 5 here.
And the feed tray is the rest tray.
And Mum's keeping guard.